This week on the Money programme, the second part of an investigation into Europe's third largest food company. Last week we told of its dramatic 13-year growth. This week we meet the man who built it, Sir James Goldsmith, one of Britain's most controversial business figures. In 20 years since he eloped with an heiress, Sir James has never been far from the headlines. His knighthood in a controversial honours list, the bitter feud with Private Eye, his failed attempt to take over the Daily Express. In business, he's accused of profiting at the expense of British shareholders. This week, Sir James Goldsmith talks to James Bellini and Hugh Stevenson about the way he does business.
That's the Money programme at 8:25 tomorrow here on 2. Well, there's another story of When the Boat Comes In, just starting on BBC One now. Here on 2, Chronicle goes to Peru to investigate the mysterious Nazca lines, which have intrigued both scientists and the public since their discovery. Pathways to the Gods. An article by explorer Tony Morrison, based on Chronicle's investigation into the Nazca lines and his trip across the Andes, appears in the new edition of The Listener, published today. Next week, Chronicle looks back at the multi-million-pound auction of an art collection which took more than 40 years to assemble, the Mentmore sale, which took place in May. The programme concentrates not so much on the sale itself, but on the history of the collection and the historic building, and traces the story of the Rothschild family and Lord Rosebery, whose home it once was. The Acquisitors, in Chronicle at 8:10 next Thursday. Well, now a look at programmes tomorrow evening here on 2. At 8:10, Frank Kilvert has an awkward ailment in Kilvert's diary.
Oh, have courage, Frank. Suffering enlarges the dimensions of a man's self to himself.
I'll wager Charles Lamb never had a boil on his rump. Is it large?
Like an Alp.
At 8:25, the second part of the Money programme's examination of the giant food group Cavenham, and Sir James Goldsmith talks about his spectacular rise during the 70s and his own particular recipe for success. At 9 o'clock, Jack Jones, with his very special guest, Mike Yarwood. Or is it Frank Sinatra?
She gets too hungry for dinner at 8. Loves the theater, never goes late. She never bothers with people she doesn't dig. That is why the lady is a tramp. Ring-a-ding.
At 9:45, Horizon looks at the new medical discoveries which bring hope to childless couples.
The sperm count is the starting point for any investigation. This patient's count of below 20 million sperm per milliliter is far too low.
With Anna Karenina at 10:40 and the book programme's monthly review at 11:45, these are programmes tomorrow evening here on 2. Well, now on 2, the Hollywood musical is the screen version of the Broadway hit about a gang of New York gamblers. Marlon Brando, Gene Simmons, Frank Sinatra and Vivian Blaine had an all-star cast in Guys and Dolls.